Yeah, it's obviously a never been done before kind of year in college basketball. A unique season. One of many things that's different is starting the Big 12 conference play first semester. Pre-Christmas. So we're excited about this challenge. Don't know if I'm excited about maybe the best team in college basketball coming in here Thursday, but we are excited about the opportunity to compete. Um, just encourage the fans to use their tickets, fill the seats. We've got a nice plan this year with the COVID and socially distanced crowd and executing the mask at the games, parking, concessions, everything's rolling. If you can't get to the game, please give your tickets to somebody that will come. Probably going to have a few more people at this game, obviously, than the first few. So get here early, and please stay late. A lot of respect for our opponent, and looking forward to a great game. Not sure if it's officially a sellout yet, but encouraging friends of mine. There's ways to get tickets. The third party websites and all have tickets. We will possibly release a few more tickets available, depending on what our student section ends up looking like. The morning of, maybe even the day of the game, day before the game. So bottom line is, I think there's a way to get to this game. If you're in Lubbock and you want to come see this game, I think there's a way.
All right, let's start with David Caller. David, you're on mute, man.
Yeah, I think we both hit unmute there. Sorry, Coach. I got a couple for you. You alluded to it a second ago. I know it's not the most ideal thing, and this probably wasn't the conference opener for you guys, but, I mean, does it say something to your program that obviously they wanted to start with a marquee matchup like that, and you were part of that?
Yeah, I'm not sure how those decisions work. Um, I know a lot of times in my history of following the Big 12, to use your word, they say those marquee games for later on. Um, so I tell the players all the time, control what you can control. Don't spend a lot of time or effort thinking about things you can't control. I don't put the Big 12 schedule out, so we'll just play the schedule they give us.
You have an update on Kevin McCullough's progress, and do you anticipate him potentially playing on Thursday?
The update is we're continuing to improve. Kev's been at practice a couple times lately. Yeah, there's a chance he'll play Thursday night. More important than the actual date, I think, is the improvement. And like I've said, from day one to day two to day 8 to 9, I mean, Kev is working extremely hard. Always appreciative of Mike Neal, our head athletic basketball trainer. Kev's going to be on that court sooner than later.
And last one for me, along Kansas is, or as far as Kansas's roster goes, how has Jalen Wilson, I guess, inserted himself into that roster? I know he was part of the team before getting hurt last year, but seems to have hopped right in there and been a crucial part early.
Yeah, I'm not there every day. I'm probably not the guy to ask about Kansas players or what's going on in their program. I can tell you from my point of view um, that I think Jalen's done a great job, I think, of running his own race. He's a highly recruited guy that was going to go play at Michigan, ended up at Kansas because of a coaching change and a transfer. Like most other really talented players around the country, I'm sure he's expecting to get on the court a little bit more than he did. He overcame some adversity, I think, with an injury. To me, from the outside looking in, and I'm no expert, but you asked the question, I think he's running his own race. And when his opportunity came, which is this year, his second year in college, he's embracing it. On the court, he's just a talented guy. He's another one of these positionless guys in basketball that'll translate for him being a pro one day, in my opinion. He can dribble, pass, shoot. He's bought into coach self-toughness. He's bought into Kansas defense. Plays the game the right way on offense. He's got some special talents with his offensive rebounding and shooting and playmaking. Simply stated, he's one of the best young players in college basketball.
Since you are playing a conference game so early, are there drawbacks? Is it harder to prepare for a conference opponent knowing that both teams only have so many games where you may not fully know what their identity is coming into it?
I think it's a level playing field, right? It'll be Kansas's, eighth game, our eighth game. Is that right, Wes? Good job, Wes. Yeah, so there's no, as long as the playing field's level, I don't know if the advantage, disadvantage comes into it. I mean, ideally, I would like to play Kansas, on the last day of the season with a full roster and everybody's healthy and haven't watched them play for months. And, I mean, ideally, I'd like Coach Self to invite me down to practice and give me the practice schedule and let me sit on some coaches' meetings. But, that's not how it works. So everybody in the Big 12 is playing these games earlier. It's a unique year in college basketball. The game's never been played like this before. It's just a once-in-my-lifetime kind of deal. But, yeah, there's all sorts of challenges to play Kansas. Playing them this early in the season, I would agree with you. It's another challenge.
Seeing how they've played so far this year, how are they different from even last year when you saw them in your regular season finale?
Well, every Kansas team has a different identity, as does every other really good team in college basketball. This year, I would tell you, in my opinion, this is a really, really good defensive team. All Kansas teams are, but this team's got something special going on the defensive end. They're manufacturing a lot of their offense from their defense. They've got multiple players that can impact the game with steals. They've got rim protection. They've got the ability to switch. They've got interchangeable parts. They guard the ball really well. They get up under you. They don't have to help a lot because of their individual talent on defense. Again, I'm not there every day, but in my opinion, it looks like Coach Self is really trying to get this team going defensively to create offense while he's still trying to figure out some things on offense, as all of us are in college basketball this early in the season.
And I think it's 3 straight games Max been shut out, held without a point in the first half, the last couple of games. How important is it for him to get going early to kind of give you guys an offensive boost?
Well, I think it's important to try to win the game, and you try to win the game in different ways. Mac, 6 assists, no turnovers last game. You got to let the game come to you. This isn't just as simple as, Kyler can walk out there and say, hey, I'm going to score 12 points in the first half. There's a lot of things that Kyler can control, and there's things Kyler can't control. If Coach Self chooses for one of our players to have a pretty rough first half in terms of getting open looks, he can do that from a coaching standpoint. So what's important is you let the game come to you. I grew up watching Michael Jordan, and there would be games where he would have 15 assists in the first half, or he might choose to score 30 points in the first half. But, I think what he was doing was trying to win the game. So, with Mac, the number of points he scores in the first half is really, really, really low on our list of priorities. What we're trying to do is win the game.
All right, let's go to Don Williams.
Hey, Chris, how do you feel about just sort of how your rotation has come together early and your kind of allocation of minutes, maybe with guys like McCullough out and working around injuries and whatnot?
Yeah, it's a work in progress, Don, for sure. Again, normally you kind of build this thing through the scrimmage and exhibition and early games, and you kind of view the season as first semester, semester break, conference play. You're trying to establish your returners. For us, we got to get our new players in there quickly, find out strengths, weaknesses. You want to give your young players opportunities. You've got some guys that have to wait for their opportunity, but opportunity always comes. It's just a unique year. I think I understand your question. We're trying really hard at it. There's some guys that we wish we could get a little bit better look at, but, you're trying to win these games too. So what I would tell you is we're still a work in progress. I tell the players all the time, it's very possible we could be sitting here in a day or 2 weeks or a month and the rotation look different. Everybody is well into play. Like last year, I would think about Kevin McCullough, who because of injury had to kind of catch up with his legs and all. And you look at stat sheets early, and then you look at stat sheets late. Kevin was one of our best players later in the season. So it's about these guys running their own race. It's about our team and our coaching staff trying to figure out. But you got to make some decisions. You can't go out there and just play 14 guys each night. But for us right now, I would tell you that all 13 players we have are alive and well. They're in our conversations every morning in our coaches' meetings. I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how this year plays out. So I would say I I don't know if we have a set rotation now, even a set starting lineup. We're a work in progress.
What's maybe one thing that you've really liked so far? What is one characteristic maybe that you've seen of this team, possibly that you maybe even didn't know you would have, that possibly that you wouldn't have expected, say, a month or 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, I really like how competitive these guys are. We saw the competitiveness, during the Houston game when we had adversity. We saw the competitiveness after the Houston game where you got some adversity, practice. Nobody likes coming off a game where you didn't win. We've also seen the competitiveness when we have a big lead and we still continue to play hard. And so there's a competitiveness to this team. There's some guys, that don't want to lose. There's some guys that are paying attention to that scoreboard more than the stat sheet. That's exciting. That's what you want as a coach. I like the unselfishness of this team. We've proven we can be maybe one of the best assist teams in college basketball. When we've had some moments and some possessions where we aren't unselfish, the guys own it pretty quick. They see that there's a right way to play. Again, Jamarius Burton has only played with Mac McClung a couple months and 7 games. We're still a work in progress. But I like our competitiveness. I like our unselfishness. I think we got a chance to be a good defensive team. I think our defense is ranked nationally right now, and Coach Adams knows that stuff a little bit more than me. I don't really care about the rankings, but he's pretty quick to tell me those things, which I like. I like Coach Adams being there because what he's trying to do is motivate the players, and he has an expectation of where we want our defense to be. So I like the fact that Coach Adams is thinking that way. But those are a few things, Don. Our competitiveness, our unselfishness, and our defense are things that have pleased me early.
Let's go to Joe.
Yeah, Coach, would you say it's generally true about college basketball that offense tends to come around later than defense?
I think it depends on your team. A lot of teams that return, your starting lineup or 8-9 players. I've never had that fortune, but I've studied teams that have. I think that's a good question. I think your offense can be ahead of your defense depending on players and returners and kind of the way you coach and set it up. Certainly for us, I'll tell you, it's a big focal point in the summers to try to get our offense going and work on players' skills, and because we know that once we start back as a team in the fall, it's going to be a defensive focus. Right now with our team, I think our defense is ahead of our offense because of the players we have that haven't played together. Again, I'm not the expert on Kansas, but in my opinion, I think their defense is really good right now. But yeah, that's how I'd answer that question.